Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture. Today we're going over Ellie Goulding's fifth album called Brightest Blue. So I have been a very long fan, of Ellie Goulding. I think she's amazing, and I think her voice is very unique to her own self. And she's in her she. I feels like she started off in her own lane and continued to be in her own lane. There were times I feel like in some of her career, especially around now-ish, I felt like that there's been some kind of like mixing into like the mainstream, but I feel like at the same time she still kind of stays on herself. So I personally love Lights. The first one, it's her first album that came out in 2010, and I loved it. I think it was amazing, and I was into it before it actually became popular, before it became popular in the U.S. Because it took like a year afterwards before people realized that she was a thing, because at least here, and to the point where they had two of her songs were on a show called Teen Wolf on MTV, and I heard it. I was like, I love this. Who is this person? Looked it up, found her, went into more detail about her, loved the album, but yet no one else has heard of her in this direction until later on. So, and I love Palasan. I love Halcyon Days. I think that was really cute. It was back at the time when people were doing like extra things on their albums, extra songs on an already done album. And then Delirium was really nice. I felt like that was the direction where she started going a different direction. I personally think that she was going more mainstream, it seems like, and which is cute, but I felt like there was pieces of it where she kind of lost me. But at the same time, when the album comes out, every time the album comes out, you see who she really, really is. And I think that that's the thing, that's the one deceiving downside about her singles, is that for some reason it must be the management, or maybe it's her, but like, for some reason, somebody is saying that you need to put your mainstream shit out first and have people think it's going to be this type of album, and then when they actually go into it, they'll be surprised. It's like, that's cute, but also I think by now we know who she is, and I think that by now she's been doing this for so long that we should expect that she can hit you with ballads, that she can hit you with great, great and deep, deep lyrics. And I think that her singles never really give you that. I feel like in this album though that she did start off giving you actual singles that she wanted you to have, and then as it went on with singles, she gave you like the more mainstream singles. And I felt like the mainstream singles were eh. I felt like the single like Flux was amazing. So let me go through some of this album, because I definitely know there's a storyline to this, and I did not know at all, but she's hitting. She, in this album, has brought her right back to where she used to be, where she showed you nothing but intense, very deep lyrics that we all never knew that we wanted. So, starting off with first song called Start, featuring Serpent with Feet. So, this song pretty much is her learning to start again after a toxic relationship. And I think that in this one, she says, you can't even begin to understand the magic she had before you killed her. And I think that I know that for sure in the little quotes that she wanted to start off the album in that type of dark direction, and it definitely threw me off. It's like, whoa, this is very dark and we definitely are selling in to a story. And once again, you know me, I love, love, love albums with storylines. So then we go into different other sets, and there's different parts to this album. So the first one is Power, How Deep is Too Deep, and then it goes into something else with Cyan. Cyan? I hope I pronounced that right. Anyway, so we go into Power, which is more about how she goes in more depth about the relationship itself. And it's pretty much about how this guy wants her all the time, but only for the pure power of having her, not the actually wanting her and love direction. And it has a nice little sexy kind of kind of weird like 80s sound in a way, and I really, really love it. It's one of my favorite songs off of it. And it kind of goes into way more detail about it, just like she says, like, one of the things she's like, sorry, I am ignoring mindless actions led to destruction. And I think that she's really focusing on herself, because she knows it's an ongoing thing back and forth. How deep is too deep is a very beautiful song. It's dealing with a relationship that's very hot and cold, and it also feel like it's about the idea that she kind of feels kind of used in this guy's like world. I can't tell if they're actually in a relationship or if this is an outside direction of another person, but I think I'm gonna go with the idea that she's going on a story. So this has to do with relationships. So she feels like she is being used to fulfill this man's need for sex, control, and power. And she says, "You like me in a mess because I always come back to you." So I think that's what she's laying it out right now. She's like, this person doesn't really love me. He just wants the power of possessing me, kind of thing. And then we go into Cyan, which is a interlude, the first interlude, and she really takes you there. And this one, it's more words, or this is more like spoken word. And so she says, sometimes I had to trample with tears in my eyes over the things I knew I couldn't help, until I was strong enough to carry them with me instead. And it ends with how deep is too deep, which is how deep is too deep is pretty much he's saying that. Sorry, I didn't add another thing. The song is pretty much about how she wants to be in a relationship with him, but he doesn't really want to go that far. He thinks it's too deep, even though he's pretty much has pretty much everything else in his power in the relationship, or in the non-relationship, I should say. So in that type of direction is pretty much saying, and Cyan with the whole carry them with me, I think she's saying like I have to cry through these mistakes and things that happen to me and everything that happen around me until I actually find a way to learn, like apply them to my life, learn from them and move on with them as a part of me, you know. Another one I really like, it goes into the first song, which is "Love I'm Giving," which I think she starts to change it around. So now she moves away from the relationship, more moving into herself. So now we're having "Love I'm Giving," "New Heights," and "Ode to Myself," and "Woman." And I feel like that kind of breaks it down. Oh, and "Tides." I feel like that one breaks it. This direction's more self-love, where she started learning about loving herself and learning about looking back at the relationship and learning what did I learn, what's the lessons I could take from this relationship, kind of thing. And she says in "Love I'm Giving," I feel like it changes in the "Love I'm Giving." I feel a change in the love I'm giving. I'm turning the page now. Am I forgiven? I think she's talking to herself. I thought she was talking to somebody else, but I think she's talking to herself. And I think she's saying to herself, she's like, am I forgiving for putting myself in this direction and not giving my actual self love? And she says to the point, like, maybe I'm paying for the pain I caused in the past. So now that this is like, maybe the relationship was karma from the past, things that she did in the past. New Heights going more further into her self-love, where she says, love for myself in this new light. And she's pretty much learning to love herself. And one of the things that she says, adding more into the relationship, she's like, maybe because we were doomed, we were whole. So it's a complete misery loves company, but unfortunately, they both were miserable in some way. And so because of that, they had something in common, which is obviously not the best way to see it. But that's just how it was in that relationship. Ode to Myself is pretty much an interlude, I feel like. And pretty much she pretty much says that my thought is that she broke up with the guy for herself, because she says, she's talking to herself, ode to herself. She's like, oh, because I did it for you. It was always for you. So I wonder if that's what she's saying. Going into Woman, I feel like that one kind of talks more about the herself as a woman, and kind of once again adding more layers to accepting herself for who she is. And I feel like that's exactly what Woman did. I faced my fears until I made it there. Now I don't know where to stand. I'm done listening to another man's music, so I'm leaving with a drink in my hand. I feel like what she's saying in that direction is just like, she's like, I'm done listening to this other guy's music and letting them take having the direction of control. So she's like, so I walk away with my drink in my hand, with my own, with my choice of doing so. And I think that she also, she's been facing her fears for so long that she now is done with facing her fears, and she still says she has a long way to go. But I feel like she says, I faced them, but now what do I do now that I faced them? You know, what's next for my life? Tides, I didn't really understand what that meant, what the actual idea was. I'm assuming it goes on a trend of what's going on. Going into Wine Drunk, which is more of a very short song, which I feel like was more of an interlude. But she says, you know me so well, even the person that I pretend to be. You hurt me so well, even the person I pretend to be. Saying that pretty much, even when I pretended to be something to this relationship that wasn't really me, I was still hurt in that process. Even when I did show you my side, it's even my real side was being hurt. And also, maybe it's a way that he knew how to kind of make her do what he wanted because he knew her so well and knew her ups and downs and what buttons to push. Going into Bleach, it's pretty much her trying to saying that I'm trying to move on from you. So I'm trying to get you out of my head and everything. She says, you throw dice as if I were the losing game. And every time you ask, I say I'm okay. And I think that's a whole thing about like abuse in some way. I feel like you don't feel safe, so you always immediately say you're okay because you don't want to add something else to add more to the abuse. I'm assuming that's what she's mean. And bleach you like a bone in a brook. So obviously, over time, water kind of bleaches stuff. And she mentioned that, actually, she's mentioned that in, what is that song? With all the blood I lost with you. The blood? It was in Holosan, where she was talking about her blood will bleach, and pretty much everything will just fall apart, and she's saying like bleaching as in get you out of my mind, bleach you out of my mind. Flux is my favorite song. One of my favorite songs is pretty much talking about how she still holds on to this relationship even though it's toxic, and even though the love that she has for him goes in and out. It comes in. Sometimes it's strong, and then other days it's very weak. And I think that she knows that. And that was one of her first singles. And then we go into the last two songs, which I think is part of the actual album. Brightest Blue, where I feel like she found a new love. And she's saying, like, yeah, I love myself. I love me more than I love you, but it doesn't mean that I can't be true. And I think that's kind of a very interesting way of saying, like, I have a lot of self-love for myself, so no matter what, I'll always look up for myself first, but doesn't mean doesn't mean that that I can't love you as well. Like, it doesn't mean I can't give myself to you to love you and be with you and give you all the attention and all the love that I can give to you. I will also give it to myself in this time around. I love the thing that she says, don't worry about the future because this is the blue evolution. She's going into the blue, hence why I wear this blue shirt, or this blue button up, because it's the only type of blue that I could find right now. Everything else is in a laundry. Overturn is the next song, and they made it seem like it's the second part of this album, which is, you can't really call it a second part when there's 4 extra songs afterwards. I don't know. I just felt like maybe that if anything, it's the next part of it. I feel like I'm really taking this further, but like, anyways, and it goes into those other songs that I kind of was with, like Worry About Me, where the ex is trying to call her up, and she's like, I'm doing fine. Slow Grenade with Lauv, which is, I really, really like it, where she says, why do I stop? Why don't I stop it? Still time for me to stop it. It's like a part of me must love it. That's why I'm not running from it. And she's pretty much saying that she's, in this song, it seems like she's like, I can stop what's going on, but I think what she's saying is I can stop this breakup from happening, but she's letting it just completely ride out, because I think she's honestly just done. Close to Me, featuring Diplo and Swae, pretty much they feel each other's fires with this love. I like it. I really think that's a nice one. Hate Me, featuring Juice WRLD, I just didn't like it. I didn't care for it. I think it's just, I didn't like the single. I just don't care for the song. I do feel like, I do understand the song. She's saying that just ex hates, like, misses her so much to the point that he misses her. and probably talk shit about her behind her back and stuff like that. So all in all, this album is really, really nice. It's very well written, and once again, she did it again. She killed it. I think this is definitely better than Delirium. I think this is more honest, more her. I give this a 9 out of 10. I think it's amazing. Leave a comment below, tell me what you thought. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, tell me why. And I'll see you all in the next video.